Once the doors were open, it was quite beyond the power of the police to restrain the rush of bargain hunters, anxious to be the first to buy from the store. Military music by the band of the Royal Corps of Signals announced the arrival of Tesco in Wakefield, with the irrepressible Jimmy Savile to perform the opening ceremony. The combination of military music and Jimmy Savile proved to be a happy one. The store rapidly filled with customers who found plenty there to interest them. Not the least of the attractions was the opportunity to obtain the signature of one of the most famous personalities in show business. A salute to a departing era. Civic Sunday has been an annual event in Wakefield for many years, but this Sunday in March saw Finney writ large. For this event was the last official function of the city of Wakefield, which officially died at midnight on the 31st of March, 1974. The procession, with its traditional makeup of the volunteer forces based in the city and many voluntary organisations, together with civic dignitaries, followed the traditional route from the town hall to the cathedral. The final chapter of the history of the city was written when its last mayor, Councillor J. Dean, entered the cathedral for the final service. Many of us remember using the school penny bank during our school days, but how many of us realised that the first school bank was founded as long ago as 1874? The 100th anniversary was celebrated in Wakefield by local school children in the costume of the year in which the bank was founded. The celebration started with a procession from the Unity Hall through the city. A sign of the changing face of the city and the influx of friends from other lands was a Hindu wedding, which took place on Saturday, the 29th of June, 1974. Friendliness was exemplified by the fact that St. Michael's Church made accommodation available for the couple. The wedding, with its customs little known to us, created much interest. By comparison with Christian events of this period, commencing as this one did early in the morning and continuing well into the evening, is a somewhat prolonged celebration. Yes, the face of the world changes. On a dull day, members of the National Union of Mine Workers and supporters gathered at the top of Wood Street for the 1976 Miners' Annual Parade. Upon arriving at Wakefield Park, the assembled miners were welcomed by the Mayor and Wakefield Metropolitan and District Councillor, Mrs. Doris Kenningham. Her welcome was responded to by Arthur Scargo, President of the Yorkshire region of the National Union of Mine Workers. Mr. Scargill introduced the principal speaker for the event, the Minister of Energy, Mr. Anthony Wedgwood Benn. Mr. Benn did not seem capable, on this occasion, of holding the attention of all his audience. After being for so many years the envy of surrounding towns, with its vast, free ground-level parking facilities, in the summer of 1976, Wakefield succumbed to the modern malady and instituted fees for car parking. An event which it appears did not receive the wholehearted approval of most visitors, as the numbers using the car parks was, initially, very sparse. The appearance of workmen in George Street announced the start of probably the most ambitious and certainly the most controversial development ever to take place in Wakefield, to be known as the Riding Centre. The development is a joint venture between Capital and Counties Property Development Company Limited and the City of Wakefield Metropolitan District Council. Work proceeded apace, and no sooner were buildings demolished than work commenced on replacement structures which will form the new precinct. Favourite places of entertainment, comparatively new buildings, were ruthlessly destroyed to make place for the new. His school opened in 1873, but its long life as a place of education came to a sad conclusion on July the 25th, 1981, when, for its 30 pupils, it was home time for the last time. There was sadness amongst them as they departed, taking with them their school belongings in readiness for starting afresh elsewhere after the summer holidays. Modern education has no place for the much loved and respected village schools. In its heyday, Heath School had 56 pupils. Sadness too for Mr. Tate, headmaster since 1960. As he locked the door for the last time, he brought to an end 108 years of village education. The Department of the Environment approved the demolition of the old Victorian Gateway, a listed building, at Wakefield Prison, as part of a £4.25 million improved security scheme, on which work began in 1980. A new entrance had previously been provided. The new scheme involved the demolition of sections of the present wall, and replacement will be by a concrete wall, stone-faced. Existing walls are to be renovated and in some cases heightened. When completed, the walls were fitted with a capping device in a smooth plastic to make it difficult for security to be breached. Completion of the project would take a number of years. Clark's Breweries sponsored the 1982 pancake race, together with the local weekly newspaper, the Wakefield Express. The event, naturally enough, was staged on Shrove Tuesday, entrance coming under starters orders at 12 noon. Many teams from local organisations entered, and the event was organised into heats. The first team in each heat to complete the 80-yard course with all pancakes intact, receiving for each member a bottle of sparkling Vieux de Vernay, supplied by Clark's Brewery. Teams were competing for a huge trophy donated by David Brown of Westgate and a magnum of champagne from Clark's Brewery. Overall winners were the team from Casanova's Knightsmith. The morning of Friday, the 26th of November 1982, saw public places in the city patriotically decorated in readiness for the visit of Her Majesty the Queen. Whilst crowds gathered in the streets to give her a royal welcome, the resourcefulness of the police was tested by an unrehearsed incident involving their horses. We doubt if this constable will ever go bald. There were no horses to upset people on Westgate Station, where the Queen was due to arrive at 9:45 and be met by Sir William. From the windows of these flats, one can obtain excellent panoramic views of the city. Evidence of the continuing development and expansion can be seen on all sides. It was often necessary to demolish old property to provide space for the erection of new buildings, in keeping with the overall plan of a city determined to keep pace with the progress of modern society. New construction was not confined to housing and the development of the city centre. New schools, of which Thorns High was typical, were provided. The child's first experience of school was at the primary infants, where they commenced at the age of 5, remaining until they were 7. During this time, basic instruction was given in many subjects, which would form the foundation upon which their subsequent education would be built. There were 13 schools in the city, devoted entirely to infants. In addition, a further 5 were combined with junior schools, which took children from 7 to 11 years old. In addition to teaching the children to read, write and do simple arithmetic, every effort was made to encourage self-expression. Typical of the new city high schools, which cater for children from the age of 11 onwards, was the Cathedral School. Domestic science was one of the numerous practical subjects in which the girls received instruction. Dressmaking, cookery, and other domestic tasks were taught by competent and fully qualified staff. In the city high, the child was finally prepared for playing a full and useful part in domestic life, industry, commerce, or for further education at other schools or colleges which specialized in particular fields.